of Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World with Warriors insider Monte Poole. I'm Kerith Burke. No Kawhi Leonard. Ty Lue fouled out. No, he didn't foul out. He was ejected. Paul George fouled out of this game. The Warriors had a 15-point lead, and they lost.
Give it back.
They gave it back. The fourth quarter, Monty, looking at this, 44-28, a defensive collapse in that fourth quarter.
How many times have we seen the Warriors get back a game? You know, early first part of the season, first half of the season, it was a consistent theme. And, you know, the recent play with a much better defense, you thought, okay, they've gotten over that.
No.
Not tonight. The Clippers shot 62% in the fourth quarter. Scored 44 points. You can't win a game. They outscored the Warriors by 16 in the fourth. That is a recipe for disaster. You know, go ahead, shoot 62%. A lot of open looks, a lot of bad defensive plays, mistakes. Norman Powell made 4 3-pointers. Got open each time, wide open, splash, 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 splash. So Steve Kerr said we didn't handle it well as a team and as a coaching staff.
That
He's not wrong.
To me
He's
as well.
not wrong.
Yes. Okay. So, what kind of adjustments would you have wanted to see?
Well, I mean, first of all, there has to be a certain amount of discipline on pick and roll. You know, you have to decide who's going to be where, and the other thing you have to do, you have to make sure that there's someone who can get out to the corner shooters. Norman Powell's shots were all from the corner, one corner or the other, and they were open, and so nobody got out there. You can give him some space when you're off the ball, but as the play develops, you have to make sure you have an eye on him and get out there because he's a streak shooter. They know that, and so it reached a point where during this game, when you got the ball and took a shot, you kind of knew it was going to go in because that's what was happening. So, so many things defensively went wrong, and even some of the veteran guys, you know.
Clay.
Yeah. Oh.
We're going to show that play in just a moment. I just flashed back to something that you said. Remember somebody asked Kerr pregame about defending the three or protecting the rim, and he said he would rather default to protecting the rim.
Correct.
And that's almost like haunting words in this kind of game when you see how much the Clippers are able to shoot their way back into the game.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what he's saying.
Yes.
But in a game like in the fourth quarter, when a guy finds rhythm from three, you have to kind of adjust that. You got to make sure that that guy is accounted for. James Harden didn't hurt the Warriors in the fourth quarter. I think he had 2 points, or did he even score in the fourth quarter? So he was pretty quiet in the fourth quarter, but he controlled the game by ball handling. But Russ Westbrook and Norman Powell were the guys.
Yeah.
And those two guys combined for, what, 22 points, I think it was. So when you do that, you get two guys off the bench that are getting you 22 points, and on 8 of 12 shooting combined, it's tough to take.
All right, let's see one of the lapses in this game. This is from Clay, a veteran player. So with 38 seconds left, the Clips were up by 3. Everyone's saying, don't foul, don't foul, don't foul. Look at Steve Kerr slapping the floor in disbelief. Clay, you can see Chris Paul in disbelief. Oh, Clay. There was a shot of, I know what Steve just said right there. There was a shot of Podziemski reacting. Clay knew he messed that up. It up. And then afterward, getting a little dap there from.
He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to deal with James. They're longtime friends, but he was like, dude, not now.
No, so a 3-point game you want to play on in that situation.
Absolutely.
It's just a possession. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you Clippers had the ball, sure. Defend, maybe get a stop. If you get a stop, you can tie the game with a 3. And that's the ideal. And instead, they end up giving them free throws. And so you do that, and that really kind of gave the game away to there wasn't the one play, but there was a succession of plays in that fourth quarter, and that was like the final play where now the Clippers are up 5 with 39 seconds to go, and now it's a 2-possession game at best.
Yeah, and then 15 Clippers free throws in that fourth quarter. They ended up shooting 37 in this game, the Warriors 18. Now, I don't mention that as far as like the Warriors got jobbed by the refs. No. This was the Warriors making these mistakes tonight.
Yes. The thing is that, and Brandon Podziemski said, I said it was frustrating because you did think that they were past that, and the defense has been so good, top 5 defense over the past 8 games or so. And to have this happen in this game tonight, the way it happened, and you're looking at the Clippers, like you mentioned, no Kawhi Leonard. Ty Lue got ejected from the game. This is a game you kind of have to win because the division and the conference has been killing the Warriors this year. and that's why they've had such a hard time. They're last place in the Pacific Division right now, even though they've played better lately. So this is a blown opportunity, and it hurts as much, if not more, than some of the others they've had this season.
One of the notes from the post-game show was the Warriors have 6 losses this season when they're leading by 15 or more. That is second most behind the Spurs. If you hadn't heard that one yet, we know we have a lot of international viewers here on YouTube, but ouch, this has been the kind of season for the Warriors. You know what? We thought we would be talking about Steph Curry's record-breaking night, history-making night, that is. He is the first player in NBA history to have 4 consecutive games where he's made at least 7 or more three-pointers. He is, of course, our BMW Ultimate Performer. Steph finishing with 9 threes in this game. Shoot, I wish we were talking about something better tonight. 41 points for Steph, and just blazing hot he continues to be from 3. 36 three-pointers total over these past 4 games.
You look at what Steph has been doing lately, and it was funny. In the last game when Klay scored 26 points, he talked about having somebody to give Steph a hand, and he did. And tonight, Podziemski played really well. I mean, he was outstanding. But this was about Steph trying to do his part to make sure they did not give away another game. There's been so many of them, and so
GP2 dancing it out. That's right.
I mean, he gets
there you go, number 30.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hang on, are we going to see a little bit more?
Yep.
Oh, there he is.
Go ahead. He knows it's going in, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. Those are the moments I wish we were celebrating in this game.
Instead, you're back to 500.
26 and 26. Okay, can we say, was it maybe 9.5 or 10 threes for Steph in this game? Did you see what happened pregame? Take a look at this. The tunnel shot from Steph. Look at that arm on the mark. Oh my gosh.
Like
you got to see this again.
It's like 125 feet or something. I mean,
I saw something that said that was the longest made 3 in NBA history because it was from the tunnel. Oh my gosh.
But you know what?
And there's the celebrate. Look, Father stretched my hands. Father stretched my hands. He got it. Go ahead.
And I think that's one. Steph has this thing about shooting that, especially from the free throw line, that if the ball touches any rim at all or any backboard at all, he counts it as a miss. He wants nothing.
Standard.
He wants nothing but net. But I think for that shot, he'll make an exception.
Yeah, kiss that off the glass on target. Steph Curry sat down at the podium. Let's take a listen.
What do you think just went wrong in the last 8 minutes?
Started with my turnover, and they got an and 1, and then every possession felt a little kind of congestion on offense, and then that fed into our defense. Definitely didn't help the situation at all. We gave up too many corner threes, too many offensive rebounds. It was just a quick momentum change that they took advantage of. Obviously, they hit shots. They had 5 threes, I think. Norm had 4. Coffee had 1. I gave up coming off straddle side corner. So it was a tough one. Just played really well for 42 minutes. And then, they're a really good team that has some confidence, and we're still trying to prove that we're, that type of team, and didn't get it done.
Steph, why is the helping out on a strong side corner like a perennial thing? Is it scheme? Is it players just kind of falling asleep? And is it as prevalent as it looks? Like when you guys are going over a film, do you figure it out more times than you not? And it just feels to us like you guys make that same mistake a lot.
Tonight I came up strong side on Coffee. They had Zubac running off that pick and roll. He was getting in the middle and kind of spraying it to either side, really. That's kind of a symptom of feeling like there's threats all over and you're overreacting to certain things, and you're trying to do the right thing and, be in a spot to help, but it may be a situation where help's not needed, and then the quick pass to the corner and they're taking advantage of it. Obviously we're undersized at most nights, and so the tendency is to, try to crowd the paint to give help. But tonight they made us pay. Sometimes you can close out and, late contest and it doesn't hurt you, but if the team's making them, a night like tonight can happen.
Steph, how much can you say about Brandon this first half and just tonight? I mean, getting up there and rebounding against Plumlee and getting, taking charges and all the little things he does that have made his first half of his rookie season pretty spectacular.
He knows how to play. He's fearless and does a lot of the little things that impact winning. Even, he had 25 tonight and was amazing on both ends of the floor. Even when he doesn't have the stat line, there's still a connection on both sides of the ball that he just finds a way to make the right play. So some of the stuff you can teach, some that you can't. You just have a feel, and he sees the pictures really well this early in his career, and it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do.
Steph, you guys have one more game coming up on the road, but how would you evaluate how you guys have done at home in the first half of the season?
If I'm not mistaken, we're probably like 500 at home. Huh? So we're very average. Very average doesn't get it done in this league, so you gotta, we need to make a run. Hopefully get bounced back tomorrow, and then, after the All-Star break, hit a stride that you win every game here and steal some on the road. That's the formula. But we've been very average so far, so got to regain that home court fear that we've been accustomed to in the past.
Steph, you mentioned tomorrow night's game, and Brandon said earlier that losing tonight makes it even more important to get tomorrow night. I mean, you guys have obviously had some momentum, a surge here going. How essential in your mind is it to regain that tomorrow as opposed to going to the break with 2 losses?
I think either way tonight would have went, we would have said the same thing about tomorrow. Like, either you're trying to keep the streak going, not have any missteps down, before the break, and now it's the same mission but a different mindset of bouncing back and feeling good going into a 6-day break or whatever it is. So very, 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 very important game, to say the least.
Steph, you and James are obviously the same draft. Russ was 08, PG was 2010. I know you don't have a great feeling after a game like this, but what's it like to still have battles like this with guys you came into the league with or came into the league around the same time as you?
It's always special. Especially me and James, like you said, the same draft. I've spent a lot of time with him at the, what is it called? The Naismith thing we did in college at the Final Four. We went up there, hung out a lot. Obviously, the draft experience, had a lot of battles back and forth over the years. Russ in there, like you said, PG. So we're all still trying to play at a high level. Talked about it with Bron, KD, and guys that have been around for a very long time, and names in this league that are still trying to play at a high level. So there's a lot of mutual respect. There's a lot of competition, too. Hate losing to them. I think they feel the same way. So we'll keep doing it.
Kuminga didn't have a bad scoring night, but it was maybe a little less dynamic than others. Are you seeing defenses play him differently? Is it a little more focus on him, and how have you seen him, or do you see him kind of adjusting to that?
It's a natural progression of becoming, that guy that instills a little fear in a coaching staff when they're scouting the team and trying to understand your tendencies. They have a very unique defensive style. Ty Lue's great at in-game adjustments and does a lot of things to try to, mix up the game and different looks. So not a surprise that, there was a kind of a slower type of night, but I think he's done an amazing job, or JK has, of staying patient, staying aggressive though at the same time, and finding his spots and continue to build that confidence that he's that guy that he can change a game for us on both ends of the floor, but especially offensively. So one night's not gonna get him down. It's just a matter of continuing to get better.
Hi, Steve. Happy Valentine's Day. And the love between you and Ayesha, that's just always like admirable. And that's let me know that love is not like the result. Love is the process. And
Come on, you preaching out here, man.
like the basketball game, right? And do you have any suggestion, like how can we have the relationship and like you and Ayesha?
That is, I love my wife for sure. We're not up here trying to preach to anybody about what the relationship goals really look like. We just live our lives and support each other. So yeah, appreciate the compliments. Hopefully we keep doing it.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. That was an unexpected question. It's a sweet-natured one, but unexpected. Going back to something that Steph said, average team, and he's exactly right. They're at 500 again, 26 and 26. There's an interesting question that we just got on YouTube for those viewers. Rebel to Sounds is asking, was the 5-game winning streak fool's gold? Okay, so they just had one. They had 2 earlier this season. I don't think it's fool's gold, but this loss was troubling.
Yeah, and I asked Brandon Podziemski, I said, does it feel like some of those games earlier this season? He said, no, this feels different. And I think it feels different because they feel like they're in a better place. Mm-hmm. I mean, they feel like they found some things. They now have a starting lineup, whereas before they were still trying to figure things out. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know if it was fool's gold, but we already know that this team is not built to win 50 games, certainly not 55. And now it's pretty much impossible to get there to 55, but they can still get into the 40s. And that's going to require them not giving away games like this. They had a 10-point lead with 8:41 to go. And were outscored, I think, 36-19, I think it was, something like that, over the final 8:41. So that is troubling. And the way they lost it with the veterans making mistakes. This isn't the kids going out there and doing kid stuff. So, this is something to chew on. And again, the Warriors, they can't be better than they are. The record tells you what you are, and their record's 500, and that's what they've been this season.
Yeah, while there have been some measurable improvements, when you don't have a win at the end of the game to show your improvement, it really...
they're a better team than they were 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But they still lost a game like the same way they lost games so often in the first couple of months of the season.
All right, 26 and 26. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about Pods, his game, and what is coming up ahead in Utah. That's next on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit us during our President's Day sale. Save up to $1,000 on the biggest brands, plus free delivery. Hurry in now or visit us online at sleepworld.com.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on YouTube. Really like the comments tonight, the questions tonight. Not too many capital letters or fire people this evening, which is, Joe just says this is such a freaking frustrating loss. Joe?
It is, absolutely.
Right there with you. The team is right there with you.
That's the word BP used. It's frustrating because, you make so much progress and you see signs of progress, and then the old demons come back to you tonight, and that's what happened at home.
Yeah, that's the F word he used. Frustrating.
That's the word
frustrating.
You use. In public, yes.
Yeah, all right. We got Moody needs more playing time. The curious case of Moses Moody, why he's not playing as much right now.
Yeah, I think tonight was a night when Moses' minutes were better than Lester's minutes. And this was a game when I thought Moses could have, and in the second half, Steve went to Moses instead of Lester.
Yep.
Yep. And I don't think Dario played the second half either. So
I don't think he did either, unless Kevon checked in when Looney got hurt. Sorry, that's okay. I just need a second. My brain is.
No, Dario didn't play in the second half, and neither did Lester.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, Loon played 7 minutes in the second half. Moody played 8.
Trace a DMP.
He didn't play at all, right?
I was thinking of when Draymond got clocked in the jaw, and then Looney checked in for Draymond. But no, Pods is fantastic in this game.
Oh my God, yeah. And at both ends, just did stuff. And I had a theme.
Because Harden was testing him a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a theme, and it was working so well, and I'm like, okay.
This is one of those games for writers where you think with the lead, you can file your story, you're kind of getting it ready. Control, Alt, Delete.
Yeah, yep.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Feels fun to talk about the rookie Brandon Podziemski. He had a career high in points with 25, had a career high in threes made, 5 of 5 from 3 in this game. He's playing 3 games in 3 days. That's interesting because he's got this back-to-back, and then he's going to be in Indy for the Rising Stars Challenge. Ooh, but watch him operate here. Monte, you were planning on writing about him tonight.
Yeah, that was for 3 quarters. It was like, my goodness, Podziemski is playing a heck of a game.
Yeah,
I mean, he got to the point where, and he's one of these guys that I was thinking, he's going to be one of these guys that players respect but hate to play against.
Ooh, as a rookie.
Yeah, he's already building that resume. And that was a dagger. That was a nasty shot right there. A step back 3, I mean, come on. What are you doing? That's some Steph stuff.
I know. I feel like he's taking some showman lessons from Steph, his mentor, a little bit. Yeah, look at this. Okay.
First player in NBA history.
I mean, what? We've got Steph Curry being the first player in NBA history with something, and Brandon Podziemski, good for him. And yet,
and
the Warriors
100% from 3 off the bench in a game.
Okay, because he's playing so well, I'm gonna nitpick the tiniest thing.
You know what it is. I know where you're going.
His free throws.
Oh boy.
His free throws. 2 of 6. Is that what it was? 2 of 6.
2 of
Yeah.
6. Yeah.
The only thing.
Yes.
There you go.
That's the only blemish on his record. Other than that, he was pretty close to perfect. I mean, he was spectacular. And to me, it's not just the production. It's the court presence. It's what he does. I mean, he drew 2 fouls and 2 charges tonight. And he got so under the skin of Mason Plumlee that Mason Plumlee went after him.
Yeah.
And Mason's like 50 pounds heavier and 6 inches taller, and got a flagrant foul because BP got under his skin. That won't be the last time BP gets under somebody's skin, because guys who draw charges like him and guys who just play like Tasmanian devils.
Okay.
Those guys tend to be. You like them on your team, but when you face them, you don't really like them that much.
Yeah, it's like in control Tasmanian Devils. Thank you. Because remember, his turnover rate is really low. Only had 1 turnover in this game in 32 minutes. BP mentioned something really important post-game, actually, that the next game, and Steph was talking about it a little bit too, when you're facing Utah, the team you're neck and neck with in the standings, a team that you might have a tiebreaker against them, and a team that you blew out. So they're going to be mad. That was on Monday. They want a revenge game. And it's your second night on a back-to-back. This feels like a very important game for the Warriors and a very tough game for the Warriors.
It is. They play the Jazz 3 more times this season. And if they win both of those games on the road, which tomorrow's on the road like the last one on Monday, that means the next 2 times they play them at home, and all they have to do is split, which obviously that's not what they want. They want to sweep it. But it is a game that they definitely want to win because, you don't want to go into the All-Star break with a 2-game losing streak. You don't want that.
No. All right, when we come back on Dubstock Live, we will round out the show talking about Draymond. He was on the court for a while, just down. Is he okay? Yeah, we'll talk about Draymond. We'll be right back on Dubstock Live. William Herr is wondering, why can't we be 2 or 3 games over 500? I think the team is wondering that as well. They might even put that at 4 or 5 games over 500.
Yeah, why? Because they've lost so many games where they gave back leads. Yeah. I mean, when you do that on a regular basis, it kind of becomes a thing where it can almost be mental, And the Warriors, I think tonight was a setback in the sense that this felt like those games before, even though Steve Curry, I asked him about that, and he said, no, it does feel different to him, and Podziemski, it feels different. But, yeah, I think the difference is that they do have a set lineup, whereas before they were all over the place. Yeah. That's the one thing that's different. And the defense, they know, has reached a point where they know it's better than it was before. So, but in the fourth quarter, the defense looked much like it did the first part of January when they couldn't stop anybody.
Okay. One of the topics we were going to discuss, so we just kind of follow the stream, the river on the show, the closing unit. Okay, so Gary came in briefly in the fourth quarter, but then Steve Kerr went back to JK for size. We've talked about on the podcast how size is an issue, but it's interesting that at this point in the season, the closing lineup is not not.
That's not quite said either.
necessarily.
Yeah, it's kind of a game-by-game thing. I mean, Draymond's going to be out there if he's healthy. Steph's going to be out there.
I mean, GP2 is recently back, so he wasn't an
Yeah.
option. But
Right.
now that he is back, when you're decaying defensively, wouldn't you turn
And
to Gary?
Steve did say that Gary will be in. There will be times when he's in the closing lineup. Tonight, he was out there in the fourth quarter for a minute, but the mainstays in the closing lineup are going to be Steph, Draymond, and Wiggs. I think Kuminga's pretty much there too.
Okay.
But the fifth person is going to be variable.
Interesting. Miguel says Curry's the star. Fans are tired of seeing the front court the front office waste his prime. Welcome back. This game started turning chippy, I would say, especially in the third quarter.
Yep.
Third quarter. And we were kind of keeping an eye on what Draymond would do in this one. I think he reminded James Harden that he has 4 rings. I saw a little video of that. We were worried about Draymond because he got clocked in the jaw by Zubac, and then he was on the ground for what play was still happening.
It's a pretty good elbow.
Around him. Ooh. I thought Draymond looked dazed when he got up. We don't have any sort of.
There it is right there.
Yeah, we don't have any. We don't have really any update about his condition because he returned to the game.
Yeah,
so
they checked him for a concussion, we were told.
Okay.
But, that was a pretty – Zubac's a giant guy.
Yeah.
And and play went on for a couple of possessions after that.
I know.
They kept playing, and so they deemed him okay, didn't have a concussion, but obviously he was shaken up. But, yeah, I mean, it did get chippy. And, again, we had a couple flagrant foul on Zubac. And Ty Lee getting 2 technical fouls, getting tossed. So it got heated, which is not a bad thing. I mean, the Clippers are much better than the Warriors right now because they're so far ahead of them in the standings. But these 2 teams, want to see each other at some point in the postseason.
Yeah. After Draymond went down there and they had to play without him for a little bit, I was getting my post-game questions ready about the composure of the team, the poise of the team, the defense standing strong without your defensive leader on the floor. Oops.
No, I mean, initially they did okay. They did okay initially. I thought, okay, Draymond's out. Let's see what happens. In the third quarter, they had an 11-point lead after 3, so they did okay. And even in the first part of the fourth quarter, they kind of held their own. It was the last 8:41 where things just fell completely apart. They fouled too much. They missed defensive rotations, and it just, I mean, when you get that many points that quickly, you're asking to lose.
All right, this one is going to sting. This is the one that goes into the column of games, the coulda, shoulda, woulda games, when you're adding up your totals at the end, when you're determining if you're a play-in team or not, when you're trying to be above a play-in team, and it's getting more difficult to do that. This one stings.
Best thing about it is they play again on Thursday.
They are already on the plane, if I had to guess. They're already heading to the airport, a very quick turnaround. All right, so we will see you tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. When I used to travel with the team, those back-to-backs, and they are rare, where you have a home game and then an away game. Like you have to pack your suitcase, you have to bring it to the arena, you have to, whatever the game is, whatever emotions you have afterward, you have to tuck them away because you are getting on a plane tonight. It's one of those things where I think it's about a 2-hour flight to Utah.
A little less.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming that there's no weather issues,
I was just going to say,
it's
so
about an hour and a half.
what time they might be taking off
they won't
at
leave. Midnight. Yeah, that's probably a good time.
Yeah, at midnight. They will hopefully be on the ground at 2:30, and they will be
Utah
in the
time.
hotel, say maybe 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no shoot around tomorrow.
No. It's like you get up, you have breakfast, you go to the game, and that's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, and it's one of those things where, a back-to-back is never great, but the home back-to-backs are so much easier. You just go home and come back.
Yeah.
But when you got to get on a plane and go somewhere, and the Warriors have, I believe they still have more games than any other team remaining on their schedule because of the games they lost. So
you mean when they paused for decades?
Yes, they still have. I think they have played the fewest games in the league because of that.
Yeah, that was a 9 or 10 game layoff.
So I think they missed 3 games or something like that. So when you do that, you're behind the 8 ball, and they know that the rest of the schedule when they get back from the All-Star break is going to be compressed. This is 3 games and 4 nights this week.
Yeah.
So it's going to be compressed when they get back, but that's what they They didn't sign up for it, but that's what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, they did salute. Steve Kerr did say, thank you to the Jazz. They agreed to postpone this
Oh, yeah.
game. Now they have to fit it in somewhere, so it creates a back-to-back. It shortens their All-Star break. I mean, it is what it is because the Warriors, needed that time after Decky died. But here you go. Not easy for anybody. And now this game feels incredibly important, so the Warriors can head into the All-Star game, All-Star break that is, without a 2-game losing streak. But it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jazz have given up in some way. And they traded away some of their rotation players, are gone already. So before the trade deadline. So that told me that they're not looking for a play-in tournament berth necessarily. If they get one, fine. But they're not playing for one because if they did, they would have hung on to a couple of guys that they got let go, including Kelly Olynyk. The Warriors should be able to beat this team because the Warriors are playing for something that's certainly at stake. And the Jazz are kind of like, well, if we get there, cool. The Warriors are like, we have to get there.
Okay.
The sense of urgency.
Okay. All right. We'll be watching. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow.